Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. 4 topics for this video. The first one and the last one I think are the most important. I would tell you from the get-go. First, China, I think for the first time that I remember, comes out and, not from the closet, comes out and tells the Americans to stop shifting blame over Ukraine conflict. That means you know who is the initiator, you know who are the root causes of, or who is the root cause of all this in Ukraine. Stop playing dumb and stop lecturing everybody else and creating a false narrative. This is according to the Chinese. The second topic has to do with Putin and Ukraine, and the third one as well. The second topic has to do with Putin, who says that if Ukraine rejects Russia's peace process or conditions or terms, Russia is ready to wait. It's going to wait as long as probably is not going to collapse. The third topic, which is related to the second topic, Putin reveals the conditions for a peace. He says, okay, these are the conditions for us to solve the Ukraine conflict. Do you think that's surprising? Well, I'll let you know that they are the same. All right, and the last one, which I think is very important. Important, why? Because that reveals our, I would say, or the Greco-Roman civilization versus the Judeo-Christian culture, which is Putin's response to Trump's disappointment in him. Remember, Trump was very disappointed with Putin. And Putin gives an answer that I usually give when people are surprised. And my question is, if you are surprised of something, that means you didn't think about it. That means that's something, obviously, that you did not take into consideration. Therefore, you're surprised. But if you knew about it, you wouldn't be surprised, obviously, right? You can say, well, that's so dumb. Yeah, but you see, we kind of lost logic and the dictionary definition of words and expressions. Why? We have now a different kind of, linguistics, to put it that way. So let's start with the first topic, China. Or as Trump says, China. All right, this is from August 1st, Russia Today. China urges United States to, quote-unquote, stop shifting blame over Ukraine conflict. Beijing has denied supporting Russia's military and defended trade with Moscow as legal and balanced. So whenever you hear the American government slapping countries with sanctions on Russia, that is something that's illegal. There's nowhere, it's like, for instance, a court, or I don't know, a police department acts against you, let's say arrests you and puts you in jail without a court. You can say, well, that's preemptive. If you have enough, then we can do this. No, I'm talking about just punishing you without having the authority of a document, of a court order or court rule. This is what the Americans are doing. The Americans decreed that Russia is doing an aggressive act against Ukraine. The jackals, Europeans and others, yes. And that's it. That's a fact. Why? Because the Americans said so. Ignoring what the Chinese say, stop shifting blame. You are to be blamed, basically. So, let's see. China has accused the US of playing a meaningless blame game and urged it to stop shifting responsibilities, plural, over the Ukraine conflict. Speaking at the United Nations Security Council on Thursday, Chinese envoy Geng Shuang rejected allegations that Beijing is supporting Russia's military and called on Washington to play a constructive role in ending the fighting. So that means if you don't play a constructive, that means you play a destructive role, obviously, right? Obviously, in this case, that's true. This is something that I really don't like, personally, in Russia's diplomacy or the Chinese diplomacy or Indian diplomacy. I can't do anything about it. It's just a preference. and the preference based on experience and knowledge. I'm not saying they're stupid or something, but I dislike, let's put it this way, when I see the Chinese and the Russians answering the bully boy in a balanced way. You can't just say, oh, it's just United States of America, that's the way they are. Come on, man, take it and respond. You have to counterattack. Remember, when you fight, there's levels of understanding and preparedness for a fight. So the first level, if you fight and someone attacks you, the first thing is maybe you react. Let's say you don't react at all and you get knocked out. The higher level than that, the next step is you just reflexively block like this or whatever you do. That's the second one. Because by reflex, if I try to poke you in the eye, you're going to blink, you're going to do something. So that's from inside. You didn't train your body to do that. The third one is block. So if someone punches you, you train yourself, bam, 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 or whatever you block, bam, bam, and that's the third one. The fourth one is running back, going back, right? Someone attacks you, punches you, you see the punch, but you are not doing anything but going back. Now going back is just postpones the same position. I'm going to move forward, you're going to move back. So the same situation, you don't change anything in that one. The next one is dodging. So if someone, let's say, goes with a straight, correct? You go to the side, and a straight comes over here, all right? And if someone comes with, let's say, something, you go here, so it goes around you, it embraces you. So this is with moving away from the target, but not backwards. So around, in the same position. And the last one is the counter while you are attacked. So the guy comes with a straight, you move, shift, his hand comes here, and at the same time you come with this in his face. So it's bang. Then he comes with a straight in the abdominal, the same thing, bang. Someone comes around here, you just bang. In the same time, you block and punch. So this is the latest, the highest level. But the highest of the highest is don't fight at all. All right, I had to say that as a martial artist. So I dislike when I see big countries that can counter, they just block and go back. You just postpone another attack. You just give room to another attack and another attack and another attack instead of bang and that's it. What they're gonna do? They always respond in a no, I didn't do it. I would say actually you did it. You did it. And the Chinese actually kind of do that right now when they say, I think you stole that. You tend to say, no, I didn't do that. No, that means you are on the defensive. You just go back. He's going to say, no, you did it. I think I have the evidence. And you, no, instead of saying, no, you did it actually. And guy is going to be, no, that's how you should do. No, you did it. Because he doesn't have any evidence, or if he has evidence, provide the evidence, right? So I dislike this in a war of words. Always defensive, go back. Just stop at the first one. No. Counter in the same time. Why? Because the other person is too focused on attacking. That's why his brain is there. Right, let's move on here. The remarks follow the series of escalating deadlines from US President Donald Trump. That's deadlines as the form as a threat and as an ultimatum. Trump gave Russia 50 days. So this guy gave Russia 50 days to end the conflict or face sweeping new sanctions, including 100% tariffs and penalties for its trading partners, China. Earlier this week, he reduced the window to, it was 12 to 10 and then 10. On Wednesday, he set August 8 as the final deadline. The US has already imposed a 25% tariffs on India for buying Russian weapons and energy. Right? The US claimed the Security Council that China has become, and I'm calling the most important supplier for Russia's military campaign. Beijing strongly rejected the accusations, calling them false and completely unacceptable. This is just defending, going back, instead of saying, you are talking, you are the initiator, you are the root cause that people die in Ukraine. Try to use some pathos, not only logos, pain. People who die in Ukraine is because of you. All those victims because of you. That's how they need to talk. And the Americans want to say, no, it's not true. There you go. I put it on the defensive. But they don't do that. It seems like they should use some Confucius, not Lao Tzu. China did not start the conflict and is not a party to it. That's defensive. Beijing has never supplied lethal weapons to either side and strictly controls the export of dual-use goods, including drones, he said. So this is like you are on charge, on trial. Is China on trial in front of the United States of America? Is that what it is? And if yes, why? Since when the United States of America is the judge? Who voted for him? As United States plays the judge, Bangladesh can play the judge. My friends in Zimbabwe can play the judge, even better than the Americans, because I guarantee you Zimbabwe is really neutral. So I would assign and vote for Zimbabwe. You got my vote, Zimbabwe. Okay, 100%. And these guys are blaming. He again defended China's economic ties with Moscow by noting that neither Russia nor Ukraine is under UN sanctions. China maintains normal trade. You see? So neither of these countries are under UN sanctions. That means I can do whatever I want with these guys. China maintains normal trade with Russia and Ukraine, has not violated international law or international obligations. So who are you? Gang warned that China's legitimate rights must not be violated and point to Washington double standards. Let's see. To this day, and I'm going, the US still maintains trade with Russia. Why is it that the US is not allowing other countries to do what it's doing? Because they're unjust. That's why, China. You should not do that. You should tell them it's because of you. People die in Ukraine. Your fault. He further noted that Ukraine conflict is now at a critical junction facing the prospect of hope of a political solution. I think so. So that's what it is. Gang comments on Moscow long-held position that foreign military aid to Ukraine only prolongs hostile. It doesn't say you are the guys. So, all right, my friends, that's what it is. China will resist American sanctions on buying Russian oil. U.S. Treasury said, yeah, we'll resist. Why? Because through your bully behavior, you created people strong enough. Remember, through a harsh environment, you create strong entities, strong organisms. So through a harsh environment created by the United States of America, shooting at everyone who's weak, with an alliance, okay, not alone, never. Weak with an alliance. Why? Yugoslavia, weak alliance. Iraq, weak alliance. Afghanistan, weak alliance. Syria, 5 million people. Not Syria, Libya, 5 million people. Weak alliance. Syria, weak alliance. Iran, they got a smack. They got a smack down, the two fuckers. And now they try in Ukraine against the Russians. Strong alliance. See? And now they're like, it's too big to swallow. Okay, well, take it out, your cock. Anyway, so that's what it is, my friends. This is very, very hypocritical. Next one. Let's see how Russia reacts to Ukraine if Ukraine, according to Russians, pull out of the peace process. Remember, the peace process should not be between Russia and Ukraine, should be between Russia and the United States of America. Ukraine just be pushed aside because Ukraine, unfortunately for the Ukrainian nation, you are owned. You are used like an... you don't even receive money for that, for free. That's what you are. Money for nothing and chicks for free. Russia prepares to wait if Ukraine rejects talks, Putin says. Moscow's conditions for peace have remained unchanged since 2024. That's the same one with this one. Russia's 2024 conditions on Ukraine remain unchanged. We don't, bow. Russia is prepared to suspend peace talks with Ukraine if that is Kiev's choice, Putin said. And I'm quoting, if the Ukrainian leadership believes waiting is necessary, they are welcome. We are prepared to do it. Moscow believes that the negotiations are always required and important, especially when they lead to peace. Got it? That's why it is. So, Putin reminded the press that in June last year, he detailed Russia's goals in a conflict with Ukraine. Achieving them remains Moscow's condition for peace. He stressed, you got it? That's it. Rooting out the causes of this crisis is the primary objective. Who are the root causes? Sopa. All right. Officials in Moscow perceived the Ukraine conflict as a Western proxy war against Russia with which the US and its allies, you see, the strong ones, allegedly decide to wage to the last Ukrainian. Russia says hostilities would end if Kiev accepted the Ukraine can only be a neutral nation and reversed policies that Moscow described as discriminating against ethnic Russians, demilitarization and no NATO. Ready? And this is the same thing as those guys say over there. All right, so we're going to go to the last topic, which is Putin reacts to Trump's disappointment in him. And this is very logical and, I don't know, it's a simple, what Putin says is not something like rocket science. Kremlin leader, Vladimir Putin, today he's a leader, he's not a dictator, according to Ukrainska Pravda, has made his first public comments regarding negotiations to end Russia's aggression against Ukraine and the ultimatum, thank you very much, issued by US President Donald Trump. Why? You're losing and you issue an ultimatum, but you are supposedly the negotiator, the mediator. Speaking to Kremlin-aligned media during a visit to Russia's Valam island, Putin addressed his comments to those who are quote-unquote disappointed with Russia's policies without directly naming Trump or anyone else. So this is called diplomacy. You got that? Take a pen and a piece of paper, Americans. I'm talking about the guys in charge, not rank and file. And I'm quoting Putin, as for any disappointment felt by anyone, all disappointment stems from excessive expectations. That's a well-known general rule. Ready? He noted that ending Russia's aggression against Ukraine requires a serious discussions, not in public, but calmly in the quiet of the negotiation process. So, my friends, again, Putin confirmed that Russia's official position has not changed since his 2024 ultimatum, which included Ukraine's renunciation of its NATO aspirations and recognition of Moscow territorial claims. Correct. Now, you call that ultimatum? Let me tell you this. Who tried to solve the issue in Ukraine? Well, how did the Ukraine issue started? I tell you, in 2014 with the coup organized by traitors, Ukrainian traitors. Why they were the traitors? Because they worked together with, and some of them paid by, outside agencies, foreign agencies. That means you're a traitor. That means your alliance is not, allegiance is not to your country, but to outside forces. And that's so could have been seen after that. So with the outside help, they overthrew a legitimate democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych. Now you're a traitor, you are a criminal, right? You don't make a revolution because you just don't like the leadership elected democratically. You don't do that. If you do that, you are in the wrong. If not, think about something like this happening in your country. Let's say if you live in a democracy, all right? So that's how it started over there in 2014. So when these guys say, well, ultimatum, the Russians tried to solve that from 2014 to 2022, February to be more exact. They even had Kiev sign Minsk Agreement 1 and Minsk Agreement 2. We had some guarantors, two countries, France and Germany, and they didn't do anything. Why? Because they were waiting for exactly what happened in February 2022. They were arming Ukraine for that. They didn't have any intention of discussing or coming to an understanding. So for 6 years or 7 years, the Russians tried to have these guys implement Minsk agreements, and they didn't. And then in 2021, before the aggression on Ukraine, the Russians talked to the Americans and, hey, sit down. This is the threat. Let's discuss. Let's have a conversation. Give us guarantees that you don't do this to boom us and all that. And the guy said, you know what? We have nothing to talk to you. Who are you again? What's your name? Go back in line. All right, I see you when I feel like. And the Russian says, why would we do this? We have 145 million people. We have the biggest resources on this planet. We can just stay in Russia if we want forever. We can defend it. We have the biggest arsenal of nuclear missiles. Why are we put back in line somewhere? And by whom exactly? So I said, no, okay, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to do it because of this. They call it ultimatums. They clearly said why they're going to enter over there. They said, we're going to enter. You don't want to talk? You don't want to talk. There's nothing to talk about, you said. And that's what they did. And then in 2024, they said, these are the goals. We remind you of the goals that your thick heads, skulls don't want to get it, or they got it but they don't want to listen to it. You know why? Because there's a lot of profit to be made out of this. That's the main thing. And they still try to kneel Russia to steal the Russian people's, Russian nations' resources, natural resources. That's the whole thing. And then from there they jump to China, and after that we're going to have a global Pax Americana, which is you do what I tell you or I will bam bam bam. You don't think that's the way it was? Why? Past behavior definitely suggests future or predicts future behavior, don't you think? Unless people change. Yeah, thank you very much for being with me again today. We don't really change. We adapt to a circumstance by hiding and putting certain things to the side for a while, but they are still inside of us. We just choose not to use them. We are the same when we were kids. We just learn how to maneuver through circumstances, but we're the same guys. Wiser, how to maneuver, how to be sneaky, how to argue, how to fight, but we are the same guys. We still think in the same way. I'm the best and everybody's a fuck up. And I should be right and everybody is wrong. But we learn that the world doesn't work like that. So we hid that somewhere in our bottom of our, you know what I mean. No? Okay, well, maybe we're not the same. But we're human beings. We work by the same principle. Pleasure and pain. Thank you very much for being with me again today. If you like pain, then you're a masochist. If you like only pleasure, then you indulge yourself into a weak behavior. That's a vice. Media aura est, the Romans said, which is the middle way is the best. You can use Confucius, I think, too, and many others. Not only the Romans said that, but that's how I knew it. Why? Because I think my civilization, my culture is Greco-Roman. It's not Judeo-Christian culture. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.